Hey everyone, this is Sam with Bardos Builds. In this video, I'm going to be refinishing this Stow Davis table that dates back between 1914 and 1937. Rewatching this video footage, there are two things I wish I could have told myself when I was scraping this. 1. It's not a good idea to leave the stand to record on the piece you are violently shaking. 2. This scraping off was a huge waste of time. More on that later. As you can see, this piece had a lot of troubled areas. It also had a lot of pieces that needed to be fixed or removed, like this metal bracket that was screwed into the bottom of the piece. It seemed like this joint was repaired somewhere along the line, and the metal bracket was used as a reinforcement for the joint. I removed the bracket and scraped off what I could. I also removed what appeared to be a piece of decorative brass on the legs, as well as the metal furniture glides. I then cleaned off any dust or debris that was on the surface of the wood piece. Once the piece was clean, I got started with the repairs. First up was gluing back on the piece of the base that split off. Due to the piece not experiencing a whole lot of stress, I felt safe just using wood glue. If I wanted to be extra careful, I could have put some dominoes in there, but wood glue for me would suffice. I removed all the hardware and gave the edges a fresh new round over. I did a new round over because there were a ton of nicks and dents on the old edges. I felt a new round over and sanding would give it a much fresher look than leaving the old round over there. Watching this part back, my fingers start to inadvertently throb. Each leg, every part of the leg, every nook and cranny had to be hand sanded. Hand sanding this took hours, but it truly was one of the most important parts of the refinishing process. Once the piece I glued back up was dry, I took the clamps off. I again added the fresh new round over to the piece. The only difference here was the router was unable to reach the end of the base because the legs were in the way. I used a rasp to smooth the transition out and came back with more hand sanding to really smooth it out and make it blend together. After my hardware's bath in simple green, I gave them another cleaning and set them out to dry. Although this sanding didn't take nearly as many hours as the hand sanding, it still took a decent amount of time. If I were to tell you what my favorite part of this refinishing project was, it would be this right here. This piece had some of the most beautiful grain I have ever seen. To assist with sanding the legs, I did eventually buy a soft pad that attached to my sander. This truly was a game changer, and the softness of the pad allowed me to get into some of the nooks and crannies. Do you remember in the beginning of the video footage when I said that scraping off the finish for the top was a waste of time? Here's the reason. As I began sanding the top, I saw some pieces chip out. I should have realized it sooner, but the entire top was a thin layer of wood veneer. I've never worked with or dealt with veneer before, and honestly I wasn't sure where I would go from here, as you can tell shortly by the thinking finger taps. Based on the extent of the damage to the top veneer, I knew I had only one option. That option was to scrape off the top and try my hand at veneering for the first time. This brings me to one of my favorite things about woodworking. Each project is different, and each piece you work on gives you the opportunity to do something you've never done before. Was I nervous? Absolutely. But that brings me to another thing that I love about woodworking. There's a whole community of woodworkers out there who put out amazing videos with detailed guides on how to do things just like this. How lucky are we that anything we want to learn, anything we want to discover, is right at our fingertips. While waiting for the wood veneer to arrive, I got started fixing this edge. Once again, I just applied some wood glue and clamped her back into place. The wood veneer I ordered was from GL Veneer. This is not sponsored by any means. I just am very, very satisfied with the product and how quickly it arrived. Like I mentioned before, there is a whole community of woodworkers out there who put out amazing how-to videos. I urge you to not take this next minute of video footage as a how-to. I truly have no idea what I'm doing. Like I said before, it's my first time doing it and I just went for it. I started by cleaning off the top of the surface. I applied contact cement to both the veneer and the tabletop, and I set up some wooden brackets to prevent any early unwanted contact with the table. I pressed down as hard and as firm as I possibly can till my hands went numb. I pressed, and then I took a nap. I was done. I was exhausted. I was happy it was over. I then moved on to the finishing process. For this finish, I am using the beautiful Rubio Monocoat Pure. Once again, this video is not sponsored. This is just my first time using their product, and I could not be more pumped with the final results. If you have made it this far in the video, I just want to take this time to thank you. I appreciate you coming through this journey with me. I appreciate your attention and you taking the time out of your day to watch me do something I love. I'm still getting used to editing videos, and I'm definitely still getting used to these voiceovers. If we're being honest, I might just have AI start reading off what I want to say. I have what I want to say in my head, and then when it's time to talk into the mic, it comes out as gibberish. Bear with me, we'll get there. As for now, I hope you enjoyed the finished product, and I'll see you on the next one.